Right now, you're sitting somewhere with walls around you, a roof over your head, electricity running through wires you never see. Now imagine all of that keeps existing. Except you don't. Not you specifically. Everyone. Every human on Earth. Gone in an instant. No war. No warning. Just silence. And the strange truth is, the planet doesn't miss you nearly as fast as you'd think, but it also doesn't forget you nearly as slowly as you'd hope. Start with your house. The moment the power grid fails, and it fails fast, within hours in most places, your home begins a quiet war against itself. Heating and cooling shut off. Moisture creeps in. Mold begins forming on walls within days. Not years. Days. Your roof is next. Gutters clog with leaves nobody clears. Water pools. It seeps. Wood rots from the inside, and within about a year, most suburban homes already show visible decay. Give it 20 years, and the roof caves in on millions of houses at once. Nobody's watching it happen. That's the part that's hard to picture. Now think bigger. Think about cities. New York City sits on a foundation that fights water every single day. Over 700 pumps run constantly, removing groundwater from the subway system. Author Alan Wiseman detailed this in his research for The World Without Us, explaining that without those pumps running, the tunnels flood within 36 hours. Not 36 years. Hours. Streets start cracking soon after. Tree roots, already pushing against sidewalks while you're alive, break through completely once nobody repaves over them. Within 20 years, saplings are growing through cracked asphalt on Fifth Avenue. Within 100 years, forests reclaim entire city blocks. Here's a question worth sitting with. If a city that took centuries to build can be swallowed by weeds in a single century, what does that say about how permanent anything you own really is? Bridges are a different story. Steel doesn't rot like wood, but it rusts, and rust is patient. Most major bridges without maintenance are projected to collapse within 200 to 300 years. The Golden Gate Bridge, engineers estimate, could stand for centuries longer than that, slowly narrowing, weakening, until one storm finally finishes the job. Nuclear power plants tell a stranger story, and this is where the timeline shifts from slow decay to sudden danger. Without human operators, reactors that aren't already shut down begin overheating within days. Cooling systems fail. Some plants are built with automatic shutdown failsafes. Many older ones are not. This isn't hypothetical. It already happened, on a smaller scale, in one place. In 1986, an accident at Chernobyl forced an entire region to be abandoned almost overnight. Scientists got something they never expected, a real-world experiment in what happens when humans vanish and nature is left alone. Biologist Timothy Mousseau has spent over 2 decades studying the Chernobyl exclusion zone, tracking wolves, wild boar, and lynx moving back into a landscape humans fled in a single day. The wolves didn't wait for permission. Within a decade, their population inside the zone was 7 times higher than in comparable non-contaminated reserves nearby. Nature didn't heal because the radiation disappeared. It healed because the humans did. That's the twist most people miss when they picture a world without people. You assume the story is about destruction. It's actually about release. Think about what humans do just by existing in a space. You mow lawns, you clear brush, you drive cars that keep deer and coyotes cautious near roads. You spray pesticides that keep certain insects in check. Remove all of that at once, and ecosystems don't collapse. They renegotiate. Within 1 year, most farmland begins reverting to grassland. Crops that took generations of careful cultivation get outcompeted by wild grasses within a few growing seasons. Cows and sheep, if any survive predators, revert to smaller, hardier body types within several generations. A process biologists call de-domestication. Cats go feral almost immediately. Dogs take longer. And here's something unexpected. Ecologists studying feral dog populations suggest many domestic breeds, especially smaller ones, wouldn't survive long without human care. Within a few generations, only mixed, hardier dogs resembling ancient wolf-dog hybrids would remain. The specific curated versions of man's best friend you know today exist because you keep breeding them into existence. Here's a strange one. What happens to all your pets left inside houses? Within days, Most die without anyone to feed them, unless a window is left open somewhere. It's a grim detail, but it's the kind of detail that makes this whole scenario feel less like fiction and more like something with actual weight. Now, what about everything you've built to represent you? Your data, your photos, your messages. Without electricity, most servers fail within 48 hours once backup generators run out of fuel. Some data centers have longer battery reserves, weeks at most. After that, the entire internet, every photo you've uploaded, every message you've sent, begins disappearing into darkness as hard drives lose power permanently. Physical monuments last longer. Mount Rushmore, carved into solid granite, erodes at a rate of about 1 inch every 10,000 years. Geologists estimate it could remain recognizable for over 7 million years. Compare that to the Eiffel Tower, unmaintained steel exposed to weather, which engineers estimate would rust into collapse within about 300 to 500 years. So ask yourself this: if someone or something arrived on Earth 10 million years from now, what would still be here to prove you existed at all? Probably not your house, not your car, not a single photo of your face. Plastic might be the strange exception. Some plastics are estimated to persist for hundreds to possibly thousands of years, breaking into smaller fragments rather than fully disappearing. In an odd twist, the disposable water bottle you used once could technically outlast most human architecture ever built. There's something almost poetic and uncomfortable about that. The things you built with intention, the monuments, the cities, the bridges, don't last as long as the things you barely thought about at all. Within 25,000 years, glaciers researchers project would fully reclaim areas of northern Europe and North America currently occupied by cities, grinding remaining structures into the earth the same way they shaped this planet long before you arrived. Within a few million years, nearly every trace of human civilization, the roads, the skyscrapers, the satellites falling slowly out of orbit, would be gone, folded back into rock, soil, and sediment. What would remain isn't concrete or steel. It's something smaller and stranger. A thin layer in the geological record. Scientists already have a name for it. The technofossil layer. A faint band of plastic, aluminum, and altered carbon that future geologists, if any exist, might one day dig through the way you dig through fossils of dinosaurs. That's what you'd become. Not a civilization remembered in stories, a layer in the rock, a signature in sediment. The only evidence that for a brief moment, one species built cities, wrote languages, and looked up at the stars wondering if anyone else was out there. So here's the reframe. Every light you leave on tonight, every wall you lean against, every road you drive down without a second thought, all of it is temporary in a way you rarely let yourself feel. Not because the world is fragile, because you are the thing holding it together, every single day, without realizing it. Tonight, when you flip that switch and light floods the room, you probably won't think twice about it. But now you know. For 99.9% of Earth's history, that switch didn't exist, and it won't exist again the moment you're gone.